Have you ever been in a situation where somebody told you something that you felt like it was unfair, it wasn't justified, somebody was being mean to you? Have you ever been in such a situation where you didn't feel like you were treated in a fair manner and someone said something that was hurtful, hurt your feelings, made you go down the wrong path, or do some things that you could have avoided if somebody hadn't told you something that was demeaning? I'll give you a small backstory. When I was a small kid growing up, and this was my first incident where I felt like I have been bullied in my life. This was my first being bullied incident. I was small, and we were living in a certain area, and we moved from that place to go to live in another place. So when we moved, we had to switch schools. When we switched schools, I had one of the teachers call me in front, like when you're small and you're in school, anyway, when you're in school, they have this, we used to call them parades, like where you're paraded, everybody is there. It's where they do the roll calls, they do the briefings, they talk about things that are happening in school. So when they're doing the roll calls, they're calling everybody, each kid by name, by your name or by your father's name, whichever they choose to use. So it's a roll call. So this teacher decides to call me by my father's name, but instead of calling me in a nice, respectful way, because my father's name is not common name back home, and maybe he found it funny, so he decided, my father's name in English means, in plural, you people, like a lot of people, a group of people. So this teacher, very immaturely actually, decided to call me in this way, used it in a Swahili sentence: you people come here. He meant me, one person. Of course, me as a small kid, at first I didn't think much about it, but everybody laughed. And I'm serious, everybody laughed. It was humiliating, it was embarrassing. I felt humiliated. And as a kid, in my small, I didn't know how to process that. I felt really bad, because maybe if he had done that and other kids didn't react, maybe it would have been just another, like, okay, fine, this teacher is just... But kids laughed at me. And that was really something that stuck with me. I remember going back home that evening, after being very disturbed the whole day. I looked at my dad, whatever he was doing, I looked at him and I told him, Dad, you know what? I don't like your name anymore. And my dad looked at me shocked. I was a kid. He was shocked and he was like, what do you mean? And I was like, I don't like your name anymore because this teacher did this and this and this, and all the people were laughing at me, and it's humiliating and embarrassing, so I think your name is not a good name, so I don't want to use it anymore. And my dad was like, okay, fine. I was like, so which name should I use? Because he was quiet. He was like, maybe as a parent, he didn't know what to tell me, you know. He didn't want to invalidate my feelings. He didn't want to justify what the teacher said. I don't know what he was thinking at that moment. But all I remember is that he went quiet. So I asked him a follow-up question. I asked him, so which name should I use? And he was like, I told him, can I use, I told him now my grandfather's name, which was his dad's name, which he was still using. He still uses up to date, because you can use your father's name, which is what I'm supposed to be using, hadn't this teacher been so mean and so immature. I told him, can I use this name? And he told me, he just looked at me and said, use whichever name you want to use. Whichever makes you happy. He said, use whichever makes you happy. He was very nice about it, very calm. He just said, use whichever name that makes you happy. So I chose my grandfather's name, and this is the name that I'm using on all my documents to date. This is weird because as a grown-up, I really came to appreciate my dad's name. I don't find that it was funny or in any type of way. I think it's a nice name, and I think this teacher was just being very mean and immature for no reason. And he put me down a path that now, for me to use my dad's name, I need to go to the court. I need to swear an affidavit. I need to go through a whole court process just to change my name to my father's name, which eventually I will have to do because of many reasons that I don't want to explain here. But I have carried my grandfather, not that I have a problem with that, but my grandfather died when I was still a small child. But I've been carrying his name when my dad was still alive because somebody chose to use my dad's name against me when I was still a small child, and I didn't know how to process that. So now, I just wanted to say that a lot of times people will say things that are not nice, things that will make us feel like we are not good enough or embarrass us, humiliate us, and we don't know how to process that. But that is a story for another day. What I wanted to talk about today is the negative self-talk, the talk that we do to ourselves, what we tell ourselves, things that we tell ourselves that are not justified, that maybe are not true, maybe are just a little bit, maybe they are true, but they are just a bit misguided, or we interpret in the wrong way based on current or emotions that we are going through that time. Because most of us, when we are angry, when we are happy, we tend to do things based on emotions, and later when the emotions are gone, that's when we start to realize, oh, this was not correct, or this was not real, or I shouldn't have done this, I shouldn't have said this, I shouldn't. Now, all I can tell you is that you need to stop being your own bully. Do not become your own bully, because at the end of the day, you cannot stop people from saying things because you don't know they are going to say them. You only realize people are going to say things that are going to hurt you after they've done it. But you can become your own protector, where you protect yourself against your own thoughts, because you are with yourself every day. And if you're keeping on telling yourself things that are not nice, things that are not kind, if you're not treating yourself in a kind manner with patience, and for example, if you wake up in the morning and you look at yourself and you go like, I look fat, and you start telling yourself I look fat, you're gonna walk around the whole day, no matter how you look, how you dress, no matter what. If you entertain that thought, it's going to make you feel like the whole day it's going to work on your self-esteem, your self-confidence. You're going to be feeling horrible. I see some people just moving from not eating at all just because they woke up feeling fat. And this happens to most women, actually, because I don't know, for some reason, the society has made us feel like we need to always look at how we look like, our bodies, our shape, and all that thing. And because of these things, the societal expectations or norms, it becomes part of us. So I know I do that a lot. Like, I can go to sleep last night, like the previous night, feeling, oh, I lost some weight, I look good, and then sleep for 7-8 hours, wake up, look at myself in the mirror, of course I'm still sleeping, look at myself in the mirror and go like, I've gained weight, I'm fat now. So this is maybe not true, because just last night, 8 hours ago, I went to bed feeling great. I woke up 8 hours later feeling fat. So is it possible? Both cannot be equally correct. Like, there is no way you can gain weight overnight, over 8 hours. But my brain, if I allow it to process that information, and if I keep repeating it to myself, if I don't let it go, if I let it stay in my brain playing again and again, I'm going to start believing that I'm fat. And sometimes that can have a very bad or negative impact it can affect my self-esteem, it can affect my confidence throughout the day. And if I encourage that, if I keep telling myself that, instead of saying that, okay, fine, I'm going to go to the gym now, if I keep just doing nothing and just telling myself, now I choose to believe that I'm fat, so every day I'm going to think I'm fat. So every day this is going to eat at my self-confidence, my self-esteem. It will change the way I look at myself, and that is when things start going wrong. So we need to learn how to not talk to ourselves in a negative manner. We need to learn how to be patient with ourselves, how to be kind, and we need to learn also how to turn off that voice, that negative voice inside you that keeps telling you that you're not good enough, that you're gonna fail before you start, that you're not qualified, or you're not beautiful enough. We need to learn how to turn it off. Because if we, and I'm not saying this is easy, but I'm saying this is necessary and this is doable, and you need to do it, because you cannot be your own bully. Other people can choose to hurt you, but if you're choosing to hurt yourself, it's not okay for me. I mean, because at the end of the day, you need to be your own first protector. You need to protect yourself first before you expect other people to protect you. You need to be able to be kind to yourself before you expect other people to be kind to you. Because if you're allowing yourself to be your own bully, harass yourself, be mean to yourself, unkind to yourself, then it's going to become very hard to be able to gain the confidence or the courage to tell the other person that, hey, excuse me, do not talk to me like that. Hey, excuse me, I do not appreciate you telling me things that are belittling, things that make me feel like I'm not good enough. You should stop. So it should start with you. They say charity begins at home. So at first you have to stop being your own critic. And while I'm talking about being critic, I'm talking about the negative one. I'm not against self-evaluation, where you create awareness and you're like, this is my strength, this is my weakness. And I don't say weakness, actually. I don't prefer to use the word weakness, because weakness makes us think that like this thing is permanent. Most of the people, when they hear weakness, they're thinking this is a permanent thing, it cannot change. I prefer to use the word areas of development, like this is what I need to develop in. I am good at this, but this I still need to do some work, because most of the things that we don't know, we can learn. If I'm feeling fat today, or if I'm feeling like I've gained some weight, I don't like to use the word fat because it's negative. If I'm feeling like I've gained weight, I should start thinking in a manner that is, okay, so what can I do about it? Instead of dwelling on the fact that I feel this and that. So what can I do about it to change how I feel? If it is in my personal interest to lose this weight, so I'll start directing my mind to go into thinking of, okay, fine. So whatever, instead of being occupied with I'm fat, I'm going to choose to occupy my brain with, how do I organize my schedule so that I can go to the gym? Do I have money to pay for the gym? If I don't have money to pay for the gym, how do I arrange to do exercises that? So this is, I have directed the same thoughts that could be destructive in a manner that is constructive. And now, instead of me feeling bad about it and hating my body, I'm thinking of how I can move my body from point A to point B, where I will feel comfortable and appreciate it more. So the problem with negative self-talk is that if you keep telling yourself things that are not kind, that are not good for you, and you keep repeating, those things go to your subconscious. Your subconscious mind stores that data. And this is correct if you have been, maybe you have been thinking of something, or you have ever thought about something for a long time. And then when you go to sleep, when you dream, you dream about the things that you had been thinking about. This is because your brain processes that information and keeps it so that when you sleep, it's still there. So it starts to become true. The more you repeat to yourself, I'm not good enough, I'm not good enough, it starts to become a reality. And in real sense, it's not true. But now your brain, since it's had this over and over again, it's processed this information over and over again, and now it's starting to look like it's true. And you yourself, you start believing it. Once you start believing that it's true, you start accepting it. And when you start accepting it, that's where the problem begins. Because now you start feeling like this is your destiny, this is your reality, and you will abandon all the things that you could have done to change that situation. Because now you believe it. When people tell you you're fat, since you've already been telling yourself you're fat, so you accept it. You don't feel like it's wrong because you personally already told your brain that you are fat. So now you just accept it, and which is so wrong. So for you to be able to know when to stop, you need to be able to analyze your thoughts. You need to be able to sit with your thoughts and analyze them and take action. And most of the people who sit for too long with negative thoughts, this brings a lot of things. Seriously, it brings fear. This is what happened to me last time. I sat with my thoughts and I kept repeating them to myself time and time again, and they became reality. So I developed an emotion, because those thoughts are not emotions, they are thoughts. But now they've developed an emotion, which is fear. So now I'm afraid. And if I do not know how to control my emotions, then what happens to me? I remain afraid, and when I'm afraid, I'm not willing to try. And from there, it can bring anxiety. Anxiety is when you're always like you're not settled. You're always worried. You're always feeling like you have some kind of confusion, and you're always worrying about something because, again, those thoughts are playing again and again in your mind until they have become a reality. And now you're anxious. You're always anxious. You go to bed, you're anxious. Stress, you start feeling stressed because based on whatever you've been thinking about. I don't know. If it's something small, maybe not that much. If it's something big, the bigger the thing, the more the repercussions, like the bigger the repercussions. So sometimes people get depressed because they've been sleeping with the same thoughts and they've been going over the same thoughts over and over again. There is depression, there is the mental health issues. Most of the time people are now paranoid. You just become paranoid that whenever this happens, oh, I'm not good enough, I cannot do this. And then at the end of the day, this all things, when they start, then it can bring a lot of other issues, other complications. If you do not know how to positively process all these things, and you leave them to move from thoughts to emotions, then your emotions can become more hurtful or more destructive. So my message to you tonight, or today, it's at night here where I'm recording from. My message to you is that be careful with the things that you tell yourself. Be careful with the things that you repeat to yourself over and over again. Make sure that you're being kind to yourself, that you're being patient, and make sure that whenever you're telling yourself something, that it is in positive light. I'll be doing another video where I'm going to be talking about the two tools that you can use whenever you're having these negative self-thoughts, whenever you're telling yourself things that are not good. There's a lot of things that you can do to unplug, because you need to detach from those thoughts. You need to find a way to detach, to unplug. I cannot cover all of that in this video because it's going to be too long and I don't want you to get bored. But if you've been watching me this far, and you've liked this video or you relate to this video, just subscribe and activate the notification bell button so that when I post my next video on how to cope or how to deal with this, then you can get that notification. Thank you for watching me. My name is Grace, and I appreciate your presence. I appreciate you being here on this channel. If you're new, my name is Grace once again. Please follow, like, share this video, and I hope to see you next time. And remember, be kind to yourself. Be kind to yourself. Bye.